A while back I did a video where I purchased a Quo haul from Vinted, and I thought what I would do is a bit of a follow-up to that because it got a lot of very nice feedback, a lot of positive comments about it. So I thought what I would do is go on to another very popular second-hand website and see what I could pick up that I don't already have of Quo. Now I do own a lot of the studio albums, so that isn't really on the agenda today. It's mainly compilations and the odd DVD that I don't own. I went on to Music Magpie, which is usually the site people think of when they want to sell something, but they do have a store that you can go on and look around. And the funny thing is, I had a lot more in my basket and I left it a few days. And then by the time I went to my basket after a few days, some of those items had gone. So Quo is definitely in short supply when it comes to certain things. But what I thought I would do here is show you what I purchased from viewing, and at the end I'll tell you how much it cost. The first thing that we shall look at is Excess All Areas, The Greatest Hits. This was the Greatest Hits album that came out around this time. This is actually the second official Quo release on DVD, the first one being Famous in the Last Century. This says it features exclusive live footage, rare TV performances, classic promo videos, and a very entertaining commentary from Francis Rossi and Rick Parfitt. Now, I haven't watched it yet, but I would say a lot of that content is probably on the Accept No Substitute DVD from much later, and possibly live at the BBC as well. I think there might be a Top of the Pops appearance or two, so that's probably on there. But this was very cheap. It was about £3, I think, £3.50, something like that. But with Music Magpie, when you order multiple items, you start getting money off. In this case, it was like for DVDs, it was like 2 for £5, and then for the CDs, which we shall get to, it was like 4 for £5 or something like that anyway, but the offers do vary. So that is Excess All Areas. I look forward to seeing and hearing the commentary with Francis Rossi and Rick Parfitt, because that was the early days of DVD when they were really honing in on what is different between VHS and DVD. Next up, we've got the Universal Masters DVD Collection, Classic Status Quo. I'm assuming that the cover, which is a picture of the Frantic Four, has nothing to do really with the content on the inside. I'm assuming these are music videos, because In the Army Now obviously has nothing to do with the front cover. That's from a much later era of the band. Don't waste my time. This is possibly a live gig. I'm not sure. I haven't watched it yet. What is this? Do let me know. I'll do a review, a proper review of it on the website or on the YouTube or even on the audio at some point. But at the moment, it's one of those things, isn't it? I hate compilations. They've got a picture of the Frantic Four in it, and then most of it is like from a much later period. So seeing like In the Army Now, for example, and The Wanderer to a point, it's like not this band. But there we are. That's the Universal Masters Collection from Universal, Classic Status Quo. I'll be the judge of that. So, keep on rocking on. It's worth noting, before anyone comments, if this is your first time here, I own all of the albums on CD, most of them on vinyl, all the studio albums. Looking for stuff I didn't have, mainly to write about on the website, also to talk about here, because a lot of people's first exposure are the dozens upon dozens upon dozens of compilations that are out there. So I thought, oh, I'll buy a few compilations as part of this deal. And from what I see on the back here, after this very fetching image for Keep On Rockin', Status Quo, It says here, Status Quo are one of Britain's, British rock's most venerable of musical institutions, with a recording career spanning 5 decades. This 2 CD collection exemplifies what they are all about. No pretensions, no frills, just honest to goodness, boogified rock and roll. Can't say fairer than that, but most of the stuff on here is from 96 onwards. I see You Never Can Tell, I see Heavy Traffic stuff, I see Famous in the Last Century stuff. So yeah, not really a greatest hits collection per se, just a collection of later recordings, mostly from the late 90s, early 2000s, excluding the Under the Influence stuff because that was on a different label. So that is Keep On Rockin', Status Quo, one of many compilations that are out there masquerading as a greatest hits, I guess. But to be fair, the stuff on there, most of it is what you would class as rock and roll. This is another one, Status Quo, got you covered, with relevant image on the front, and then basically just all their covers. This was released in 2001 from Demon Music Group. They've done a lot of the reissues later on. Just mainly Don't Stop and Famous in the Last Century stuff. It's too early for riffs at this point, so just all their cover versions on there in no particular order. Next up, let's go to this one, which is Rock Legends, Status Quo. I love this kind of silhouetted cover, really fetching that. Little bit confused as to, I guess you could do that because that's the track listing, that's the front cover. Yeah, that's the way. Now, I bought this because it said it had rare recordings on it. Let's have a look. I mean, for a start, ouch. Look at the way they've typed this in. Look, there's no spaces in between the words there. It's literally all one word. It's not Rocket All Over the World, it's Rocket All Over the World. Essentially, they've Tommy Coopered it, as it were. It's not Paper Plane, it's Paper Plane. It's one word at this point. I'm trying to think where the rare recordings are. Lonely Nights on here, it's a B-side. It was featured on Quo Extra Editions. Yeah, this is not a good compilation because it's just a mishmash of things. The stuff from Quo, this Rhythm of Life from Heavy Traffic next to Mystery Song and In My Chair and Can't Give You More and Where Am I? Where am I? Isn't it Where I Am? Or have I got that wrong? Isn't that Rockin' All Over the World? Or is it Who Am I? It's a bit of a mistake there. And then Back on My Feet from Thirsty Work. Rock Legends, yeah, probably could have done a slightly better job at compiling that. That's just my off-the-cuff thing, right? So this one is quite popular. I've seen it around. It was actually an Australian release from what I understand, and it has been released elsewhere. A Few Bars More, featuring a shot from Live Alive Quo. This is from around that time, and this is the first time I'm looking at the track listing. We've got Whatever You Want, What You're Proposing, Softer Ride, Price of Love, Drifting Away, She Don't Fool Me, Who Gets the Love, Let's Work Together, Bring It On Home, Backwater, I Saw the Light, Don't Stop Me Now, Come Rock With Me, which I'm assuming is Come Rock With Me Rockin' On in one track, and then Rockin' All Over the World. I haven't had a chance to listen to it yet, but that's not actually a bad old collection. Mainly stuff from the early 90s, mixed in with a few kind of mid-70s things. So I look forward to listening to that compilation and seeing how it all ties together. That's a few bars more. Obviously, following on from the 12 Gold Bar series from the early 80s. So I'm about to show you something that's kind of the perils of buying second hand. Especially when you're buying it online. Because you don't always know what you're buying. Sometimes there's no picture attached to it. Sometimes you're just having to throw your fishing rod out and hoping you'll catch something, but there's no guarantee. And it all depends on what happens in the warehouse. Now, when I was looking through, I was like, oh, Woolworths had a Status Quo collection that was kind of random because it had all the greatest hits on it, and then Shady Lady was thrown in. And I kind of thought it would be funny to do a write-up on the website about this compilation, just in case somebody runs into it at a car boot sale or something like that and thinks, you know, I wonder if this is worth picking up. Just thought I would do that. So I put my order in for it because it was peanuts, right? It was part of that offer. It's worth noting the few bars more was not part of the offer, but it was still only like, you know, £1 or £2 or something. So I thought I'll put in this order for the Status Quo Worth It Rock Collection or whatever it was called. And this is the first time I've opened this package. And I've looked down and they've sent me Smokey Robinson and the Miracles. So this isn't exactly what I was looking for. Obviously a mistake's been made. Somebody's read it wrong, or I have ordered the wrong thing, or they put it in their machine wrong, so that you know, Status Quo looks like Smokey Robinson when written down. I don't know. Something's gone wrong somewhere. I'm not going to complain about it, because actually I wouldn't mind having a little listen to some Smokey Robinson now and again. I'll put it up on my shelf there. But that does show you the perils of buying second hand. Vintage was kind of different because that was an individual person you were dealing with. eBay is kind of a mixture of the two. Sometimes it's a person, other times it's like a big system. Like, because you can get Music Magpie stuff on there as well, so it'd be a big system. So that mistake could still happen on eBay. Less so on Vinted. Music Magpie, definitely, because it's a massive system. And I am disappointed because I didn't get the Quo Worth It collection, but maybe another time when I do another one of these hauls. Is there one of those kinds of places that you're interested in finding out more about? Maybe how you can get Quo from there, you know, anything like that, anything like Vinted or Music Magpie, or, you know, any of these things. Maybe I should try looking in a charity shop sometime, see what I can find. This lot came to around £12. So in actual fact, I pretty much got the Smokey Robinson for free. So I don't mind that myself, but do be wary. It was about £12 or so, about £12.50, something like that, with free postage, which for 5 CDs and 2 DVDs is nothing to be sniffed at, because there are a lot of people who've given away their collections over the years for many different reasons, and it's nice to be able to pick them up, you know, especially as some of these would have been cheap compilations just in supermarkets, and you know how disposable that can be sometimes. So I'm glad to give them a little bit of life here. So this is my haul. What do you make of it? Have you got any of these releases, even Smokey Robinson? Let me know in the comments below. Oh, and yeah, please do let me know what else you would like to see me try.